What's up, guys? We are back with another early Super 7 review, taking a look at the set of figures that threw me off guard quite a bit when they got announced. So they started announcing the more deluxe ultimate style figures there for a while with Voltron, Conan, Toxie, and then of course with Turtles, Thundercats, all that stuff. But they announced Ren and Stimpy, which was just kind of out of left field. Like, it seemed like the odd man out. Of course, I'm a big Ren and Stimpy fan. This is my favorite Nicktoons of all time, so I'm certainly not upset by this. It just sort of seems kind of weird, right? But these things look so ridiculous in person, so I'm really excited to kind of dig into these. And the first thing that took me completely by surprise was how big they are. So not only are the figures massive, the boxes are incredibly big. These are basically like, 1.5 times the size of the Thundercats boxes. They are enormous, and the figures within are really big. So just like Thundercats, just like Turtles, these guys come in the brown mailer box. You've got the Ren and Stimpy Show logo, and this one is Ren, so it has his name on the front, and there's nothing on the back. Pop this guy out just like the rest. And of course you've got a big monster box on the inside here. And I really can't stress how big this is, so, I mean, like, it takes up the full frame. It is massive. This thing is really, really big. It's the same format as the rest of the Ultimate stuff. These did not come with slip covers, though. I don't know if they're supposed to, but they didn't. And they are just enormous. They are also very disgusting, too. So it took me a while to realize, or at least notice, this is Ren's open, stinky, disgusting mouth. So you've got those nasty teeth and like the stink lines that come out of his mouth, and then you've got Ren in there with all of his accessories, and then the back of the box has got the show logo. Now Stimpy is very much more of the same, so we'll put him aside, but Stimpy is such a big figure, and he comes in a different color box. So he's red, and I think this is supposed to be his boogers down here, like under the table that he has, that he keeps all of his nose goblins on. So you've got Stimpy and his million accessories. There is a huge weight difference here too. Stimpy is a massive, heavy package compared to Ren. They're just a lot different in size, but there is so much going on here from just a design perspective when it comes to these boxes. They have that same ultimate shape, but they are humongous, and the figures are massive, but the presentation is really cool. So I'm very happy with the way these things look in the box, but we got to take them out. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here they are out of the packages, our deluxe Ren and Stimpy figures. These were again provided by Super 7 for the purposes of review. And these are really interesting and frankly weird toys. Weird in a good way, not in a bad way. They are definitely not the same as any of the other deluxe / ultimate figures you may have already. So they aren't really super articulated by any means. These are just kind of big, dumb, stupid, fun toys is really how I'm interpreting these. And honestly, when I originally pre-ordered mine, however long ago that was, I had no idea exactly what these were going to be. I just knew that they were big, weird looking Ren and Stimpy figures that came with just a ton of accessories and a lot of interchangeable parts. So I was kind of sold right then and there, and they are exactly kind of what you think. They are minimally articulated, but they're all about the goofy accessories. These guys are truly about having them as a pair, but then also all of the options you've got with them. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, they are just sort of big hunks of plastic, but they are really cool hunks of plastic. So we're going to take a look at each one individually as far as articulation, because they are different, but still very much similar. We'll talk about that, and then we will get into all of the good stuff when it comes to all the stuff that they crammed into these boxes. So we'll start with Ren because, well, it's the Ren and Stimpy show, so he gets to go first. And this guy is really, really basic when it comes to articulation. So he's got a ball-jointed head, and he can look up, he can look down, he can tilt side to side, and then he can rotate. This particular head, at least on this figure, is kind of loose. Like, it kind of clicks into place, but it also is a little loosey-goosey. So the other ones aren't like that for me, but this one is a little bit. It's not hindering him by any means, but just, might as well mention it. The arms can go out at the shoulders, and they rotate. You've got a ball peg at the wrist, but it really only swivels. It doesn't do much more than that. You've got swivel forward and backward at the legs, and then you've got a hinge that goes outward. You are not, however, going to be getting this guy on one-legged poses. Well, I say that. Someone might, but there's a good chance you're going to have trouble if you try, because he is incredibly, incredibly top-heavy. And that's not to be not really surprising here, because of the fact that, well, I mean, just look at him. He is very much a top-heavy type of design, but you are going to have to work with the legs to get him posed right, and then he's going to stay just fine. but he is prone to falling over. No doubt about it. I mean, you can probably see it right now. He wants to just lurch forward because of this big noggin that he's got. That said, that is the key thing about this figure, though. That's the design. That is what he looks like. And this guy looks like he jumped right out of the show for me. I'm very, very happy with the overall presentation and how this guy looks. Plastic is really nice. Like, it feels good. It's got a little bit of a shine, but it's also not too shiny, and it's also not matte. The figure is really just mostly cast plastic. You've got a little bit of expressive fingers down here, so you've got, you know, like a pinky out on this hand, you've got a pointing finger there. The body is just sort of what you see is what you get. He's that Asthma Hound Chihuahua flesh tone color, I suppose. The head sculpt is where it is all at. He is very top heavy, so he does want to fall over. So that is a bit of a problem right out of the gate, but you can work around it. I've been relatively okay in that regard. But the design, the look, the feel, it's all classic Ren and Stimpy Nicktoons cartoon look. It makes me think of the show, so I guess mission accomplished there. You've got on this head, you've got that big monstrous smile, you've got the red nose, and then you've got those pink and purple eyes. Now this one, of course, he is got the ears kind of slicked back, and you've got his little tuft of hair up there. And it's just the show made real is really what it comes down to. This makes me think of the cartoon. It's a really good translation from animation to figure form. And this is a really odd character, odd expressive faces to translate into figure form. So I'm really pleased with the end result here. I think they did a really good job in terms of making this guy look like the show. He does look ultra creepy, like dead on, but when you get him at an angle, at least for this head sculpt, you can really start to see the show coming out. And it's that weird, awkward, goofy design work that, you know, John Kricfalusi is kind of known for, brought to life. So I'm really, really happy with the way he looks. The only true negative from, I guess, the figural standpoint is, well, that he wants to fall over. But you can work with it. You can get those joints in the right place, and then he'll stand up just fine. It's just a matter of playing the balance game. Stimpy, by comparison, is similar but different to Ren because, well, not only are they entirely different in terms of design and shape, Stimpy is incredibly heavy. This guy is such a huge brick of plastic, basically. He is, however, more stable, but he does have, I guess he has a little bit more, but he also loses a little bit of articulation as well because, again, he is a head-body type of creature. So his entire head takes up the entirety of his torso, basically. So you don't have anything as far as head or neck or any of that kind of stuff, torso, waist. None of that stuff exists on this figure because, well, he is all of that in one kind of big thing. So the arms go out and then they rotate at the shoulder. You do have the same kind of ball peg at the wrist that Ren does. It's really just a swivel, though it doesn't do much more. And then you've got legs that go out. They do not have a hinge on them, though. So they just swivel, but he does have ankle hinges, and they actually work really well. And he also has a little bit of a rocker, too. So you have a little bit of a different scheme when it comes to articulation here. He is not quite as top-heavy as Ren in the sense that Ren's head just wants to kind of topple over, but he is still, of course, top-heavy because he's a big brick of plastic. And there is a lot of plastic in here, but he looks so good for all those limitations. See, for all those limitations when it comes to articulation, he looks so good. And frankly, I'm not really sure that there should be anything different with his articulation because of the fact that he is what he is, and they've just sort of translated this design, again, just like Ren, into figure form. So what can you do when the entire head is the entire body? There's really only so much that you can work with there. So it all comes down, to me anyway, to the aesthetics, to the look. And I think this one looks better than Ren. And I'm happy with Ren from top to bottom, basically. I just think Stimpy is that, and then some. Something about this design, to me, translates into figure form a little bit better than Ren does. And I think it comes down to maybe the differences in color. Stimpy does have a little bit more paint on him. He has differences in terms of that nose being blue, the body being red, and then you've got the yellow around the eyes, and not to mention the fact that he has gloves on. So you've got that little difference there. You've got the open mouth, so you can see that different shade of reddish pink inside the mouth with that tongue in there as well. And then you've got, of course, that different kind of skin tone, similar to what Ren is on the front of Stimpy, on what I guess is his neck slash belly, if you want to call it that. But then it's all about this expression too, because, I mean, look at that. That is classic Ren and Stimpy. This is classic Nicktoons stuff. And I think they did a great job here. It looks fantastic. It feels really nice. Again, there is a great heft to this figure. He is a lot of plastic. He does kind of want to lurch forward, but you can get him to stand just right, and then he'll stand up just fine. So balance is kind of key with both of these figures, but they look so good. They absolutely nailed the aesthetics on these two, just spot on 100%. Like I said though, accessories is the name of the game when it comes to these figures. And they come with a pretty solid spread. Stimpy, I will say, comes with more right out of the gate than Ren does. And Stimpy is just overloaded with accessories here. It's pretty crazy how much he has, especially in comparison to Ren. So there are a lot of things here. Some are more obscure than others, I think, and there are maybe a few that I would have rather seen in place of some others, but I do like just about everything that we've got here. I mean, some of these are just ridiculous too. So to start with, let's just go ahead and do Ren. And like I said, his head is on a ball peg, so you get extra heads with this guy entirely. So we get this one to start with, so you've got one that's just him smiling with his ears perked up, so it's very similar and just in overall construction to this one, but the ears are different. One thing I would have really liked to have seen is maybe him being an angry expression, because I kind of think of him being angry more than anything else, but all of these are very much a crazed kind of happiness look, which is, don't get me wrong, very, very, very Ren and Stimpy. So you've got this one, and these heads are, again, very, very heavy. They do contribute to his instability, but they all look fantastic. And then you've got this big monster head sculpt. This one here is him kind of losing his mind. So he's got a huge open mouth with the ears perked up again. Eyes are elongated. The tongue is sticking out. So it very much goes along kind of with this Stimpy head here. And again, it's just a ball peg, so you can pop these off and put the other ones on. Very easy to take off and put on the replacements. And speaking of replacements, we do have extra hands. So he's got kind of like style pose hands, almost like pointing fingers out of the box. You've got a set of kind of flat hands. They're sort of gripping, but they're almost kind of relaxed pose. And then you've got a set of fists for Ren, which of course would come in handy for beating up Stimpy. We have got his rubber nipple, which of course you can put on his head there, which is classic Ren and Stimpy stuff. We have got his little fez as well, so you can put that on his head, so he has another hat option. And then, and this one is my favorite accessory that he comes with, it might be a little more obscure than others though, is you've got a plate of pig faces, or I'm pretty sure these are called hog jowls in the show, and this is just a weird one. I mean, it is literally a plate of plastic pig faces. So you've got a blue plate, and then you've got these just pink hog jowls all over it. This one is really weird. It's goofy. This is classic Ren and Stimpy stuff. But I mean, come on, that's exactly what the show's about. All kinds of gross, stupid stuff. And I really like this one. So he's got that guy. It's kind of heavy, but it's a very robust accessory. It's very oversized too, which very much fits. And then we've got Stimpy stuff, and he comes with a lot. It contributes to his box being so very large. So to start with, Stimpy is different in terms of construction. He has swappable face torsos, I guess is the best way to say it, and this one is one that needs to be demoed. You know how to take a head on and off with a ball peg, but he actually comes apart. So the body comes out, and then you can swap in the replacement. So you've got this guy here, and this one I've had a little trouble actually getting it on there, but it fits once you kind of get it. It's just a matter of, I guess, kind of maybe warming it up almost. And you can pop this one on, and this is his more slightly relaxed face. He's got one little oddity, is that you may not notice it at first. The eyes are actually different size. So it's another one of those weird little quirks about the show. So you've got kind of an oblong and a more circular eye, and then he's got his tongue sticking out on the side. So it's an interesting way to actually get us swappable parts, because I don't know how else they would have done it, since he is, again, a head and body kind of combined. And then he's got some extra hands as well. He's got kind of gripping hands out of the box, then he's got these splayed fingers as well. And then we've got slightly relaxed hands, kind of like Ren has. They're not really gripping, but they're not exactly flat either. So you've got those. Then we've got his rubber nipple here, so you can put that on his head. Or actually, nope, I was wrong. This one is Ren's, and this one is Stimpy's. Stimpy's is larger. So there you go. You've got his rubber nipple. We have got a fish skeleton, which has a lot of detail on it. This thing is fantastic. I really like this one. It's very, very goofy looking. So you've got that. We have got the son of Stimpy, so Stinky, his fart. And this is, I don't know which one is my favorite accessory in this pack, because Stimpy's are kind of firing on all cylinders, really. This is just ridiculous, just to think that you've got this, and it's really well done. I mean, for a fart anyway, it's really well done. You've got that. We've got one of his nose goblins, and look at just the upset expression on this little guy's face, this little booger's face. So you've got that. So he's done up in kind of an orangey brown translucent plastic, and then this one's done up in kind of a yellow green one. And then we've got this. So we've got an actual litter box that you can put Stimpy in, and it kind of locks him down a little bit. He's not exactly unstable, but it locks him down. So it's got footholds in there, so you can put him in there. It's got his name engraved on the front, and then of course you've got the Gritty Kitty litter all around him. But of course you also have a bag of Gritty Kitty litter from when he is the spokesman, and you have him on the bag itself. So yeah, he is stacked with accessories. I mean, Ren has a decent amount, but Stimpy kind of just ratchets that up quite a bit, and he has so much stuff. He really kind of makes the set as a whole really feel a little bit more robust when you can kind of combine all of their accessories. So a lot of cool stuff here, a lot of different display possibilities, and just a lot of goofy, stupid, nasty stuff with this one. Now, I don't know how much you're going to be swapping these in and out with other lines, because frankly, they don't really scale with anything. They're very much their own thing, and they're kind of confined to each other because they are really, really big. Now, they aren't necessarily tall big, but they are beefy, big figures. Stimpy, of course, being much bigger. So here is a size comparison. You can see how big Stimpy and Ren are next to each other. And then here is the ever-present laughing Prince Adam. And you can see that he is only slightly taller than Stimpy. Not by too much, especially when you take into consideration that hair. But if you're talking about just the bodies, Stimpy is basically 6-ish inches tall, and Ren is about 5, with their hair taking them up just a little bit more. But Stimpy is really big and beefy, so I mean, you can see that he is incredibly thick when compared to a normal 6-inch figure. So you've got your normal kind of Power Rangers right there, and then you've got a larger 7-inch style figure there. So you can see that they do have a lot of size to them. Stimpy, of course, being much bigger, but again, they don't really scale with anything. They are something that, as far as other lines are concerned, really just sort of go with each other and are kind of a thing apart, unless you want to get weird with it and throw some giant Ren and Stimpys into your display alongside your 6 and 7-inch lines. So at the end of the day, I still don't really know what I expected to get with these guys, but I'm really happy with what we got. I don't know exactly how much more articulation could have been put into these without really jacking up the sculpt on these figures and putting cuts in places that would have just destroyed the animation aesthetic. So I do like the fact that they preserved as much as possible, and they do okay for what they are trying to accomplish here. They're not supposed to be the most articulated, dynamic things ever, but they are going to look fantastic on your shelf with some of these accessories doing something stupid with their wacky expressions. I still would have maybe liked a few other accessories when it comes to Ren, maybe like a bar of soap that he's eating when they're, out in space or something like that. There's a million and one things I could have hoped for with this line, but at the end of the day, they still delivered a lot of stuff in these boxes, and I'm a huge fan of this property, so I'm happy to get something that's a little bit more robust than some of the cheaper things that I've been able to get over the years, because let's be honest, there aren't a ton of options when it comes to Ren and Stimpy these days. So yeah, these guys are pretty cool. I'm really curious to see if more of this kind of stuff could happen. I would love to get Rocko's Modern Life, All Real Monsters, or more specifically, to go in line with 7-inch stuff, Powdered Toast Man. Say it with me, everyone. Powdered Toast Man. That is what we all want. Let's be honest. He is just ripe for the picking when it comes to taking this property and applying it to an Ultimate style figure. But I am really happy with the cat and Asthma Hound Chihuahua that we've got here. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super 7 Ren and Stimpy. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.